Quick edit at the start of the video. Right when I was done ranting, my brother, who is super smart, super 10,000 IQ, reminded me to mention this as well. So I'm going to do it at the beginning of the video and then start what I had recorded. And that is, Sony is notorious for not keeping your privacy data safe. There's always been leaks and ransoms and stuff like that. So just keep that in the back of your mind as I start garbling and just shooting stuff out at you about the situation that's coming up. Hello everyone, OCDsaster here, and for a few weeks now I've been uploading Helldivers content to this channel, so I felt it would be appropriate to give you an update on something major that's happened. People are calling it a controversy, and yeah, it's not good. So I want to start off and say, throughout the course of the launch of Helldivers, there have been technical issues, but the developer Arrowhead has been completely transparent through the whole thing. Even the CEO telling people not to play the game when it's not ready, and they've been doing a lot of work with patching and new content rollouts. So I have to commend them on that. The battle pass is also not super greedy. So although the game is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, Arrowhead has been very transparent and done a very good job with the game. However, something recently just happened that has now kind of put a stink onto the whole Helldivers universe, Helldivers 2 specifically, and that is something that Sony decided to do. So before I go further into this, I want to make that very, very apparent. This is Sony's doing, not necessarily Arrowhead's, and it kind of sheds a light even more so on how awful the gaming industry is becoming and how greedy and how just it's getting quite ridiculous, to be quite honest with you. So what happened was, Sony is the publisher of the Helldivers game. A publisher is different than the developers. Publishers do not make the game. It's the developers that obviously develop and make the game. The publishers give them money for marketing, for, you know, doing campaigns and helping them make the games. They are kind of like the backers, the investors, so to speak. So that's what's happening in the situation where Sony decided, hey, starting in May, we are going to do, which is now this month, so I believe it's May 6th. I could be wrong. I'm not looking at anything in front of me at this moment. I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here. Starting at the very end of this week of May, or the start of next week in May, everyone that owns Helldivers now needs to connect to the PlayStation store, network, whatever you want to call it, their cloud service, and everyone is pissed because this causes a lot of other problems. One, it's even Steam users. So it doesn't personally affect me because I'm playing on my PS5. So for me personally, I'm not affected by this because I had to do it that way anyway because I don't have a strong enough computer. I'm doing everything off of my laptop. I have a gaming laptop that cannot run Helldivers. I tried it. So it doesn't really affect me, but I can see the outcry from a lot of other people, and all my other friends and family members that play Helldivers play on Steam. And now they have to go and connect to this other arbitrary thing just to play the game, which is annoying because why should you have to do that if you already, you know, have the game downloaded, already been playing the game, putting countless hours into it. But in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't seem like a big deal, right? Well, it's a lot more malicious because there's a lot of countries out there that don't allow you to do this with the Sony platform or whatever. You cannot connect. So are they going to be able to play Helldivers anymore? And that's the biggest thing, is because it's cutting off a decent amount. I think there's only 69 nice countries that allow this. All the other ones are like, no, you can't do that. So there's going to be a problem when it comes to when they're releasing this and activating this, unless there's more stuff that comes out very soon. And it's really crazy. Now, the developer Arrowhead has spoken out on Discord about how, like, this is how it is when you have a publisher. They didn't make the decision, but they're at the whim of the publisher, and that if you have any complaints, direct it towards them, which I think is commendable to Arrowhead, but like that's not the people at fault. They're just trying to like fall on the sword, I guess. And he basically said, like, we told them so, but they weren't listening, but you know, there's nothing we could do. We're powerless in the situation, and they don't have a clear idea of what's going to happen for the people that cannot connect to Sony. And that's where things are going to get really dicey in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully Sony backs out of this, but I don't think so. And a part of this, I think, is really just trying to boost their numbers up. They're trying to go to the investors, to go to the suits and say, oh, we have these many more people signed up for the Sony platform or whatever. And they did it forcefully, but the investors and the suits, they're not going to care. They're going to like to see number go bigger. See, this is what I meant earlier in the video about the gaming industry is really getting absolutely fucked. Like, absolutely overbloated, fucked, and greedy. And it makes sense. It's one of the biggest markets in the world. Like, it is over $1 billion investment, and the greedy keep getting greedier. It's crazy. I'm not a rich person. I nowhere near have a lot of money, but it's so funny to me that it's always the rich that are just incessantly trying to get richer and richer. Like, it's an addiction. Like, once you have, in my opinion, well over $7,500,000 a year in your salary or in whatever incomes you make investments, you are pretty much set. Like, you can do a lot with that, especially if you save your money well and stuff like that. But no, you have these people that get like paid $15 million a year trying to boost up their salary by cutting costs, by cutting other developers, by shutting down studios completely, and giving more money to themselves and to the investors that are literally doing nothing. They are not doing anything except backing the finances of these games, basically, and making terrible decisions. Look at Warner Brothers, right? They completely fucked the Suicide Squad. Like, Suicide Squad was probably already going to be a mid-game at best, but then they're like, hey, we want it to be live service, which leads me into the next thing, and is that these games in the gaming industry, they're all trying to follow Fortnite because Fortnite is very lucrative. It started the Battle Pass system. It started the live service game boom, where they're just printing money, basically. And they're doing it the best, in my opinion. They're still very, very good. Now, there's some shady things Fortnite's done, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to the cost of the Battle Pass and stuff like that, it's still fairly cheap compared to what all these other scumbags are doing. Try to sell $50 in Diablo just to get a horse mount. It might even be more than that now, I don't know. Where the prices are getting absolutely outrageous. And the problem, there's a lot of problems on both sides here. So you have the suits and the greedy cats trying to fill their pockets, and to do that, they're cutting costs. The layoffs in the last 2 to 3 years have been absolutely insane. I know there was a boom in hiring in the tech industry when COVID hit, and then once COVID was done, they cut off a lot of people, but now we're in a different part, and I don't think a lot of people understand this. This isn't COVID anymore. This is just the investors and the big publishers being like, we're not making enough money, we're not maxing our, investments, so it's time to fire all these really talented people and hire people for cheaper. They're getting other people. They're firing these developers and then trying to pay people less. I guarantee you, if you know someone that's in this field that got laid off, if they told you their salary, one, it's less than the industry standard. Two, I guarantee they tell you on Indeed right now, their job is reposted for even less than what they were making. Because that's how it works. They're just going to keep churning out people. They're going to keep some higher management, maybe some middle management, but they're still cutting on all levels. And it's absolutely deplorable and despicable because these developers, like Arrowhead, are the ones that are making the game. Now, no one at Arrowhead, from my understanding, is getting fired, laid off, anything like that. Like, the game's doing well. It's making enough money. It's doing great. But in the whole encompass of the gaming industry is where I'm going with this, because Sony's just trying to boost their numbers, and they're trying to make it look like to the investors and other people like, hey, more people are signing up for our accounts, even though they're kind of forcing people's hands. And some people are going to be complacent and do it. Some people are going to quit the game. And what's really fucked up, and we don't know about this yet, is whether or not people will be able to get refunded on the game if they don't want to sign up for Sony and they already paid for the game through Steam. And that'll be interesting to see. I doubt they will get refunded. There might be like a $30 back thing or something like that, especially if they put more than 2 hours into the game. But we're just gonna have to see on that front. It's really, really shitty, and I could go on all day about how like awful this has become, because the game quality is also going down. We are not getting good games. We are just getting all this like shovelware, half-baked, half-made games made by the suits that are just trying to swim around in their money baths. And I had another point and I completely lost it because I don't have a script on me, and I've kind of just, like I said, been shooting from the hip. But it's absolutely insane. I need to start, personally, me, because I can't tell you guys to do anything because I haven't even done this yet and it'll be hypocritical. I need to start looking at more indie devs, and I need to start supporting more indie dev people, because I would much rather put my money into people that really care and love a game and aren't controlled by these publishers. And now I'm starting to remember what I was going to say. Earlier, I said that there were two halves, right? You had the suits, and I covered that. We also have the rich oil princes and the people that are just brand loyal. They are a problem as well. The consumers can have power in the gaming industry, but there's so many people that just don't care and will just throw their money out. And I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. I have a very wide spectrum of friends, all with different opinions, and some of them have the same kind of spending habits, right? I have some friends that are very frugal and only get games that they know they're going to play, know that we're going to want. I have some friends that just throw their money out to try new games that are popular and just kind of see what happens and then kind of just drop them. And then I have other friends that are so brand loyal that even when it's like a really shitty business practice that the company's done and the game's really fallen off, they are tied to it. They are a consumer ball. They are sucking the cock and the teats. Yes, the company has both tits and cock. Sucking both of those off all the time, buying all the items, all the cosmetics, all the stuff. I have a wide range of friends like that. And it's those on that really far side that are just pouring their money out, even if they don't have it, that are the problem. Because when the money keeps getting higher and they see that these tactics, these greedy tactics are working, it's not going to stop. Fortunately, for some things, consumers are starting to speak out a little bit more on, but for the good games or the disguised good games, the shit that's polished really well, there's a lot of people out there that just have a lot of money that they can throw out, and a lot of parasocial relationships to these companies and these brands and these games, where I don't see this problem going away anytime soon. I posted in my Discord a little while back. Some people disagree with me, but I do think there's gonna be a sort of game industry crash. Not anything near the Atari level, like back when that was crazy, but I do think there's going to be a gaming dip if this keeps happening, because the focus is gone. It's no longer about the players. It's no longer about the gaming experience. There are people out there, you know, Baldur's Gate is the best example of, like, there are companies out there, there are indie devs, there are publishers that do care and still have their heart in the right place, but they're kind of falling in last when it comes to the monetary stuff because they're not being greedy enough, they're not being hungry enough, and it's just, it really sucks to see that happen, and it looks like Helldivers is a victim of it. Once again, the developers, Arrowhead, they don't really have a say in this. They've been kind of cucked into the situation with Sony. Without Sony, I guarantee you Arrowhead would not have been able to make Helldivers as good as it is and will be, but that's the kind of trade-off. It's like the deal with the devil, right? And I think a lot of indie devs probably have this problem when they're making a game that they are desperate to get more capital or more money for, is they end up making deals with these publishers, and then things go this way, because once you do that, the publisher gets to make more calls, make more decisions, and sometimes it's for the better, but most of the time it's for the worst. Anyway, that was my ridiculously long rant about Helldivers and the situation. Going forward, I don't know what I'm going to be doing with the Helldivers content, to be quite honest with you, because I really don't want to support Sony in any way. I know this barely does anything, but this brings more eyes to the game, and even one more view. I don't know if I can agree with that. I really support Arrowhead though, so that's where I'm kind of like at a impasse, so to speak. So we'll see what comes out of the situation. Hopefully something can be done. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments about this situation. Thank you for watching this video if you made it all the way through. Be sure to subscribe if you like, and also check out some other stuff. I do really stupid uploads on here. I did Fortnite videos and stuff too with my buds. I have two other channels, OCDsaster, just regular, and then OCDsaster Blue. So OCDsaster Blue is like more family friendly Sonic content, Sonic exclusive content, and then OCDsaster is my main channel in which I do like Smash Bros, Kingdom Hearts, Nintendo stuff. So I want to do more diverse and variety experimental content on this channel. So if that's your thing, be sure to stick around. If it's not, then it was great while you were here. I'm very open to feedback and criticism, as long as it's not like super like there's a line, right? You know, you can have feedback and be critical, and it doesn't need to be nice. I'm not saying be nice to me. I don't give a shit about that. But if you're just like, oh, like you're not playing my favorite game, like fuck you, no, like that's not proper criticism. But let me know what games you guys want to see, what content you want to see. I have some ideas that I'm working on, and we'll see where that goes. But I'm just kind of having fun on this channel. The OCDsaster Blue is doing the best right now, so I would love it if you could support over there. And then OCDsaster, I'm trying to restructure a little bit because, yeah, it's a little bit tight. But anyway, that is going to be all, and thank you again. I am out.